All right, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to onboard remote team members. Successfully onboarding new hires is the most important thing that you can do to guarantee their success and retention. But most business owners totally mess it up. But by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to create a bulletproof onboarding process that will make every single hire successful. My name is Benjamin Marone. I'm the founder of Zabota. We're a recruitment firm that's hired hundreds of candidates and done thousands of hours for interviews for businesses like Valuetainment, HubSpot Diamond Partners, and 8-figure e-commerce companies. I want to start this video with a little bit of a story time around what happens if you don't onboard a new hire successfully. We'd worked with this business owner and they weren't a beginner. They'd been in the online space 5+ years, working with large personal brands, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But after crossing the 20K a month mark in their own business and managing a few of these part-time hires, they needed to hire someone who was a fulfillment piece, someone to run that fulfillment side of the business. So they followed kind of the usual procedures, asking their network, posting a job ad on LinkedIn, and just kind of waiting for some candidates to come into them. They got a couple hundred applicants, filtered the list down to 10 pretty good ones, interviewed them, did a skill test, and then hired someone with several years of experience in that field. And initially, everything seemed pretty good. The new hire was responsive and eager to learn and met those KPIs that they had set out. But after about 30 days, things began to go downhill. The new hire became slow to respond to Slack and started making mistakes, complained about tasks, and eventually wanted 30% more money for their work. During this onboarding month, the client results actually declined, basically leaving this business owner very embarrassed about the state of his business. What's even worse than that is after letting that new hire go, his business still struggled at a lower revenue mark for 60 to 90 days, causing him to miss out on 40K plus in revenue. So why did this situation turn out so poorly? It actually was the business owner's fault. And I know this because I'm him. I'm that business owner. When I first started my business, I rushed the hiring process and onboarded the new hire without a proper bulletproof onboarding experience. It didn't have feedback loops, it didn't have clear KPIs, and it lacked a ramp-up plan. Looking back, it's no surprise that that new hire failed. I deserved the poor outcome that I got because I didn't have those key elements in place. Once I took responsibility for the failure, I created a bulletproof onboarding process that our countless 7-figure and 8-figure clients have had smashing success with. If you have a bad onboarding, it costs you 40K, it costed me 40K, and I did not like it. Very, very expensive lesson to learn, but it allowed me to create this bulletproof onboarding process for everybody to have success with their new hires. Now on the flip side, what happens if you onboard correctly? According to the Harvard Business Review, companies with a standardized onboarding process, which is what we're building here today in this video, experience 62% greater new hire productivity and 50% greater new hire retention. What good is hiring someone if 90 days later you need to go get a replacement for them, right? So we want someone to stay very, very long at our company. And that's what an onboarding process does. It helps them stay longer and it also gets them more productive. The new hire onboarding process is going to make or break the effectiveness of this new hire. If you follow the bulletproof onboarding process in today's video, you're going to experience the following benefits. Your employees aren't going to leave. They'll do quality work. They'll have high engagement. You have lower risk as a business owner, and your reputation will be protected. A good onboarding equals higher productivity and 50% more retention. There's a couple misconceptions about onboardings. There's this misunderstanding that if you get this candidate who has 5+ years of experience in the exact role that you're hiring for, they're just going to know everything about your business and everything about the tasks that they need to do for your business day one. But no matter where you hire from, no matter how much you pay someone, they're not going to know your business as much as you do on day one. The goal of onboarding is to bring someone from being an outsider to becoming a functioning member of your team. The onboarding is kind of like a drawbridge across a moat in a castle. It allows new people to get inside the castle, become part of your team. If the drawbridge, the onboarding process is too short, then nobody's going to be able to get inside of the castle and they're just going to fall into the river and get stuck in the moat. Step one of building this onboarding process is understanding the entire onboarding process from a high level. Now, according to Leila Hormozi, who manages a $100 million business portfolio each year, there should be 2 onboardings, the company contextual onboarding and the role-specific onboarding. The company contextual onboarding will basically give a new hire the understanding of the general company, right? This is kind of classic stuff that you'd see maybe an HR team would take care of if you're running a larger company, but it'd be info like the company's mission and vision, core values and culture, hiring and firing practices, quarterly goals, annual goals, key leaders, an org chart, celebration and improvement practices, philosophies around pay and benefits. Luckily, you don't need to go over this all heavily inside of a call. what you can do is you can put it in a quick slideshow. It can be shared the night before that new hire starts. Here's a free template. This is going to be linked down in the description of the video, so you'll be able to click into this. This is something we normally build for clients for 200 plus bucks, but you can get a free copy of this and change it around however you like. So this is what that company contextual onboarding template looks like. Your logo in the left-hand corner, welcome to, your business name, and then the new hire's name. So the next page goes over the mission, the core values, who you help, so your ideal client profile, your clients, maybe some case studies, some testimonials to get some buy-in, so this new hire knows that you're legitimate and you can get results. The story, how you were founded, the services you provide, org chart, the team, annual goals, improvement practices and celebration. If you have any competitions or where you give away something at the end of the year to someone who's most productive or hit certain KPIs, you can put them on that page. And then more about the role that they're being hired for. So some of the compensation, who they report to, and then the training materials. So standard operating procedure links and then an onboarding tracker. You're going to understand what that is in about 2-3 minutes when I explain it. But that's where you can link those. And then thank you. So it's about 12 slides, pretty simple to fill out and then have this person look over the night before they actually start. The next step is the role-specific onboarding. This is typically what people think of when they hear new hire onboarding. This should consist of the job description and department expectations, the key performance indicators or the KPIs that are tracked, systems and tech that are used, like the softwares that you log into, meeting schedules and cadences for the department or that role, the tools and methods for achieving those KPIs that are being tracked. This onboarding is done during a Zoom call. This is where that new hire can ask questions and get the necessary access to the softwares they need to use in that role. You kind of have two options. You can go with a role-specific onboarding or just an unplanned onboarding, meet with them once and just assume that they're going to know everything. It's better for you to go with that role-specific onboarding. If you take one thing away from this video, it should be this step. Plan a meeting cadence. The biggest mistake that I see with onboarding and clients is not communicating enough with that new hire. So to make sure that we avoid this, we're going to plan out a meeting schedule for the first several weeks. This photo is for the first week. We typically do 3 to 4 weeks of a meeting schedule that's very similar to this. But assuming this new hire starts on Monday, they have a 1-hour orientation, which is basically like that role-specific onboarding in the morning. And then end of day, they have a 30-minute meeting, just a check-in meeting, and they fill out end of day forms, which I'm going to explain in the next couple of slides. Again, this is something that is extremely important. You don't want to be the founder who's just meeting with them once and then says, hey, I'm available in Slack, just hit me up if you need anything. That person is not going to have a successful new team member inside of their business. That team member is going to stay for a max of 60 days and then leave. You're going to be stuck wondering, oh, remote talent doesn't work for me. It's not that good. I'm not sure how to actually get the best candidates, when really it's the onboarding process. So this is something that is very, very key. Make sure that you're getting feedback on your onboarding process. Make sure that in this first week, they're understanding everything that's required of them and expected of them. This is that most key step. Don't forget this part. One of the hardest parts of onboarding is making sure that the new hire knows every single step that they need to do to get from being outside of your company to a functioning member of the team. So we build an onboarding tracker to take care of this for us. It basically lists every single step that new hire needs to do, from signing their contract to actually actively ramping up into production of their role. The meeting cadence, the 30-day ramp up, end of day forms, tech logins, and standard operating procedures are all going to be inside of this onboarding tracker, and that's what we're going to get into next. One of the parts of the onboarding tracker is the end of day forms. What gets measured gets improved. So you should basically use a Google form or a type form that each day the person can fill out at the end of their workday. If they don't do this, there's no way to actually figure out what they're doing during the workday. There's several reasons that we are doing this. It's going to improve that accountability, the productivity. It's going to help you spot bottlenecks and issues a heck of a lot sooner. Questions that you can put on the form are, did I implement one change to improve my skills by 1% today? Can I honestly say that I put my best effort in today? What was my biggest weakness today? What is my plan to either minimize or eliminate this weakness tomorrow or in the future? Do I need help from management? If so, what do I need help with? This last one's one of the most important ones, because sometimes, you're the business owner, you get busy, you're inside of Slack, you're in and out, maybe you're, out of office, something pops up. Maybe you don't read the Slack. And so with this allows you to be able to check these forms and understand, where does my team need my support? Another section of that onboarding tracker is the tech logins. How's the new hire supposed to use the softwares inside of your company if they don't have the logins? To organize the passwords and the details, you can use a sheet like this one below, or a password manager like 1Password or Dashlane, LastPass. You don't want to have that new hire show up their very first day and you're like, I don't know the password, the logins, the emails, that type of stuff. It looks really, really incompetent, and you don't want to have that person's first impression of you as the business owner to be someone who isn't organized. The next part of that onboarding tracker is the standard operating procedures, or the SOPs. These standard operating procedures are blueprints of how to do a task. When someone first joins your company, they're not going to understand the steps of how to do the task to your liking or what success looks like when doing that task. So inside of the onboarding tracker, you can build this little tracker for standard operating procedures where you can link all of them. The name of it, the notes, who's it's assigned to, and the status of that SOP, if it's being built, if it's complete, or it needs to be updated. Luckily, we have put a SOP template here. So if we click into this, it shows you basically what an SOP looks like. There's the purpose of why are they doing the task. There's a Loom video, which is basically like a screen recording, walking through the task or giving a little bit more context. Context with internal docs, maybe it's part of a larger task. So this is where you link it to a larger task. Terms is a section where you can just put different words that they may need to have the context of. Tools, HubSpot, maybe they need access to like ClickUp to fulfill this. These are just examples. The roles and responsibilities, so who's actually going to be doing the standard operating procedure, and then the procedure. Step-by-step screenshots. There's a couple different tools that I use for this. There's something called tango.us, that's the domain name. Basically, it's like Loom, it's like a screen recording, but then it auto makes the standard operating procedure. So it's super smooth if you're doing this inside of like Chrome or Safari, maybe something that's web-based. Tango works really, really well for this. After we've built this onboarding tracker, we're ready for the new hire's first day. The first day is when we should have that initial onboarding call or that orientation for an hour. This is going to go over that slideshow for the company contextual onboarding real quick, the role-specific onboarding, the meeting cadence, the ramp-up tasks, end-of-day forms, tech logins, and these standard operating procedures. This first day is about getting that person familiar with business, getting them familiar with the standard operating procedures and the ramp-up tasks, not necessarily having them hit the ground day one and just ramping into production, right? Instead, you want to ramp them up a little bit more slowly to make sure that they understand everything instead of just throwing them into the fire and just expecting them to get the best results. Here's something that I wanted to share real quick because nobody likes to sit down and build these step-by-step trainings, SOPs, and the onboarding tracker. It takes 5 to 10 plus hours. And frankly, you clicked on this video to save time. You don't want to have to go build something completely from scratch. So what we did is we're giving you that exact onboarding tracker and project management template completely for free. This is something normally that we charge $500 for. So you can click this link. This is going to be linked down in the description and get access to that onboarding tracker. So as far as next steps, that's exactly how you run a bulletproof onboarding process for your remote team members, increasing productivity and increasing their retention. But there's something I didn't tell you at the start of this video. Everything I told you is completely useless if you don't know where to find talent. So click on the video on the screen now if you want to learn where to find top tier talent from around the globe that won't break the bank. Thanks. See you in the next video.